We are back. We are live. It's a Sunday session right here with the Kev Baker Show, and I'm seeing Joe's face. I'm seeing it. Come on, Joe, you're dying to say something, dude.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood.
Better tunes today?
You know, man, I'm back to normal. I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah, you've got like the mayhem has ensued, right?
It is. It's back. It's back. And because it's back, I am just, I guess you could say, back in my element, not feeling so awkward, you could say. But at the same time, I really did enjoy the quiet. I did.
You were looking kind of lost, I must admit.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird experience.
You see, Joe only operates at his kind of optimal levels when he has got like 110 things to do all at the same time. And along with that, the atmosphere has got to be cray-cray. It's got to be absolutely berserk. And that's when Joe's at his finest. And
it's
Joe,
all I know.
You just couldn't handle. You couldn't handle all that time you had on your hands. You know, that Ange and you time. It was too much, dude.
It is, man. It actually, like, I don't know how to explain it. Almost like the gears inside my head just started going, you know, like, oh man, grinding and smell smoke. Oh, it's bad.
And we've got the Scotty man here as well. Scotty, last show before.
This is your final weekend stream here for a while until you recover, huh?
Yes, Thursday is my operation, so this is going to be the final weekend stream for a while I recover. But you know, the time is nigh, and I'm glad to finally be getting all this done and over with, and you know, so yeah, everybody out there, you know, you probably won't see me for a little while. You know, they're saying probably a 6-week recovery time. I'm sure, knowing me, I'm not gonna adhere to the whole 6-week situation, and I'll be getting up and about and at least updating people. But yeah, you know, so for the rest of the week, you know, I'm just going to be chilling out, relaxing. I'm probably not going to be really posting much on social media. I'm just going to kind of be psyching myself up for the whole ordeal. So, yep. Last stream, guys, for a while. So
no social media. How are you going to get your dopamine hit, dude? Come on, man.
That's a very, very, very good question.
Well, you know, Kev, after surgery, they prescribe you things that give you dopamine hits as opposed to social media. So.
Yeah, but still, though, man, it's not like it's not like you're sitting on your bed and it becomes a magic carpet and you go off into like some magical world. That's not exactly how it works. You know how it works.
Maybe it depends on what they prescribe you. Maybe you will go on a magic.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess if you're in Oregon, or maybe absolutely they will. But in Kansas, unless it's in a twister, dude, and you're getting caught up in it, I don't think you're flying anywhere, dude. Just saying.
No.
Just pretty.
But I was telling you guys before the show that you know, while I am somewhat bedridden, I'm going to be propping myself up, you know, kind of sitting up in bed. I've got the laptop that I can bust out in case I really start going stir crazy and need to get my dopamine hit off of Facebook. And, you know, so it's not all gloom and doom. And like I said, I'm going to be feeling much better after the surgery. So it's all going to work out. It's all going to be, it's all going to be better. It's, you know, it's a good thing I'm getting all this done. So
I say that we go off the deep end, literally it's right away.
It's a Sunday session, so it's like anything goes, isn't it? Anything
goes.
There's
no better way to get it started. So let's talk about deep ends, right? Florida man accused of stealing pool floats says he did it for sexual gratification instead of raping women. By God, he was doing a public service.
Yeah, sure he was.
I got to get your thoughts on this, guys, but let's do this. So a Florida man's been arrested by local authorities and accused of stealing sex pool toys. Stealing pool toys. According to the Miami Herald, you crazy Florida peeps, you. The Palm Bay Police Department arrested 35-year-old Christopher William Monin on June 13th after a series of burglaries occurred in the city. The city's been plagued with burglaries in which the suspect cuts the screen or otherwise enters a victim's back pool deck area and steals only pool floats.
What the hell has happened to
now
people?
People are probably more pissed off that he cut the screen, of course, than they are about the pool floats going missing. But down in Florida, if you don't know, most of the pools out there are screened in just because of, it's pretty swampy. You get a lot of bugs. And so they have these screened in pools, and this guy's cutting them probably with a razor knife going in, stealing.
I like how you've actually thought forensically about how he's gone about doing this, Joe. He's got like the razor.
It's good. I'm trying to break this down.
Have you got your own like pool breaking in kit as well? You done this before?
So here we are. Let's fast forward to June 13th. Officers responded to a report of a suspicious person and discovered Monin riding a bike down a city street at 125. And at that time, my friends, police found him in possession of a white garbage bag containing deflated pool floats. Now, when questioned by police, Monin reportedly admitted he had taken a shack pool float from the home, but denied having stolen the yellow duck float. That's right. He said he'd taken the floats from other homes also. Monin then told officers, or took him to a vacant home where he'd been storing some of the stolen floats. The Herald reported that almost 75 or approximately 75 floats were found at the residence, including the shack and the duck-shaped floats.
The shack.
As well as floats shaped like bacon and watermelon. Now, when questioned by police about the floats, Monin allegedly said he sexually gratifies himself with the pool floats instead of raping women.
I mean, that's what automatically anyone would think when they find out somebody's fucking a pool float, right? Good guy, like you say, he's a gentleman.
Monin was charged with burglary of an occupied dwelling, criminal mischief, and petty theft of property. He was taken to Broward County Jail, and bond was set at $16,000. It's unknown if he remains in jail. I'm probably thinking he is.
I would say so. I hope so.
Take a look at that mug, man. Woo boy. Yeah, he's probably still there.
Again, though, if somebody had asked me his crime, I probably wouldn't have gone for the kind of pool seducer. What are we going to call this guy?
Kev, I got to tell you, I also, since we're on the topic of pool floats.
There's something on your mind, Joe. Do you want to get it off your chest, dude?
I'm going to put it in the chat room now. So if I could find it, it's really rather.
Scott, this is the part where we wish we'd never done this show when Joe breaks into a confession about what he'd done to a shack back in the day,
Oh, back in the day, I was known to rock a pretty good pool float myself.
Oh, yes, that is a classic.
We cannot show that. We can't show that on the screen, Joe. Come on.
I just wanted to throw it out there to you there, it's a shame that you can't show that on the screen, but yeah, I used to have an affinity for those.
I might have to post that on Facebook right enough, but yeah. Who done that to you?
That was,
Mr. Lopez?
Perhaps. Yeah.
You see, we would have to set the stream to an 18 plus to be showing stuff like that. But if you imagine Joe riding around on the back of some phallic symbol in a swimming pool, then you're coming close, quite close to what it is. Yeah. It's as best as I can
wanted to throw that
it.
out there for you, Kev. I don't know, put that in your file.
What's going on in Florida, dude? I went there. Okay, I was only there 6 weeks. I thought it was absolutely superb, but the more I find out about it, there's some weird stuff goes on in Florida, man.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
It's a tale of two cities. It's that kind of situation where, if you're coming to visit, you're seeing the facade, the tourist glory of Florida, but when you look at the dark underbelly of Florida, it's a much different place.
It is
And,
indeed.
You know,
That was like the local sheriff in Tampa, Scott. The day we got there, we were having like a familiarization, kind of get to know the place, and they said, whatever you do when you go down into Tampa, do not go anywhere near Nebraska Avenue. So we're all looking at each other thinking, take a note of that name. You know where we ended up the first time we went down into Tampa, Nebraska Avenue. And I'm telling you, dude, this was like the other side of America that you tend not to see when you're watching the TV shows. Wow, dude. It was like the kind of,
I think it's like
the cans burning and stuff like that. You're like, whoa, what's going on here, man?
Well, you know, it's like that everywhere around the, you know, in any country. You know, there's kind of the facade and the face that every country portrays itself, you know, puts itself out to the world, you know, and you know, they kind of, you know, glorify the better things about their country. Obviously, you know, they want people to come and visit, and of course you're not going to really talk about a lot of the, you know, problems as far as economic problems, drug problems and stuff like that within society. And so, you know, it's like that everywhere. And, you know, I tell people, you know, especially people from other countries, you know, they're like, oh, you know, what's it like to live in America and blah, 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 you know? And I'm like, well, you know, I'm sure that there's a view of America that is put out there that people see, and then they don't understand a lot of the problems.
You mean it's not all like Baywatch? Ah, come on, dude.
Yeah, well, but there is. But I will tell you this: being being in the military and going all over the world and seeing other places, and being in Europe and being in Africa and in the Middle East, and there is pros and cons to every place you go.
Yes, exactly.
It's very interesting, right? And everywhere you go, there's no place like home.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can describe it. So to me, it's pointless to try and the only way I can say it's bias. You're naturally biased internally because this is what you've always known, or this is your normal. Right.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. You're exactly correct. You know, if you've grown up in that environment and that's what you're familiar with, well, that's home to you. That's what
I mean, unless it's like Somalia and it really sucks. You know what I mean? Then I guess anything's better than that. So
you know, every country has their pros and their cons, and they have their issues, you know, that they're dealing with. And, you know, a lot of that stuff they try to kind of hide away from the rest of the world because it's not something that they want people to be seeing. Right. And it's, you know, it's just like the United States too. You know, we kind of, you know, like Kev said, you know, he came over, they told him, hey, stay away from that area of Tampa, you know, don't go there. Cause you know, that's kind of, you know, that's something that they don't really want people to see, you know.
Here's something else though. 3 billion people in the world are starving, are considered starving by UN standard. They're considered starving. So those people that look at life in the United States and there they are starving, they look at us and say, wow, you know, that's a life of excess and wow, look at all that. Okay, great. Meanwhile, over here, we've got a lot of people in poverty, or that we consider poverty and is poverty based on the standard of living here in the United States. But that would be living the high life 100-fold to some people over in the third world countries, you know, of South America or Africa. And so, you know, like we say, all weather's local, and it's all based on life experience. But there's certainly, all I can say is I view myself as extremely fortunate to be a white male born in the time period that I was born in the United States. No doubt. I mean, I hit the lottery there. Seriously. Whereas it could have turned out totally different. It could have been a lot different. So I can myself quite
imagine being born a peasant during the you know, during the 1300s
or something. Right. Yeah. Oh,
as opposed to being a peasant in the year
The Black Death.
2000.
Yeah. Oh boy, this is great. No, I mean, look at, honest to God, National Geographic. You know, the magazines. You go there, you look through and you see, you know, people from tribes in Nigeria where there's been famine and drought and all this kind of stuff, or Ethiopia, and you see the distended bellies and just the absolute suffering and the misery and all that kind of stuff.
Incoming, Joe. Incoming. We've got a super chat.
Our
First
good
one of
man,
the day.
Just a Guy.
And of course, if you want to help the stream, you can get a super chat. You can get a membership. We're trying to get 9 more members so we can get a new emoji. And then
9 more.
Yeah, and of course, if you want, you can help through PayPal as well. Cut out the Google middleman, and we'll certainly get your message out there.
Happy Sunday, Yal. Joe, can I borrow one of your many pool floats? Smoke 'em if you're goat 'em. Brown chicken, brown cow. Great to see Yal in the chat. Woo.
I don't know if he'd want to borrow my float. What do you think? I bet you Just a Guy would love my pool float.
I think I'm trying to figure a way of getting it like to subliminally flash up in the corner of your screen for those who dare to look at it.
No, you know,
the algorithm's going to look at a shape like that and it's going to think, yep, that's definitely a rude phallic object.
You know why, Kev?
You can always
are one?
pixelate it.
You know why, Kev? Because it is a rude phallic object. That's why.
Well, is it though? Is it really? I mean, one man's rude phallic object is another man's
another
love
man's
interest.
rude phallic object.
It's another man in Florida's love interest, you know?
It's true.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely. Still phallic.
Don't pick on the guy just because he has like love for like buoyant things. Don't
He
go
did a
after
public
him.
service, Kev. I'm extremely happy with what he did. Personally.
Exactly. I mean, pool floats around the world have been seeking love for years, dude. Here's
Well,
this guy, he comes
they
along.
found it.
What a job. You know, he's going to service all of them. What a job he's got, man.
Oh my God.
Holy
So
moly. We've got Brown Chicken, Brown Cow, Uni Rock in the chat room. I see
Ooh,
Ken
nice.
Rotman in the chat room as well, all the way from down under. D Nice in there. Roosevelt. Yeah, it's all Jojo in there as well. Yes, it's filling up nicely, indeed.
So here's the question: what's the difference between a pool float and a sex doll, a blow-up sex doll?
About, I would say maybe
Probably little to no difference outside of.
hypothetically about $200 or so, probably. But apart from that, it's the same mechanism, right?
I mean, you take away the fact that he was breaking into people's, backyards and
That's
breaking
the whole rub, though. I think.
Yeah, that I think that's the more of the issue of it.
I don't think
Yeah,
that.
I
I don't think that was the whole rub, Joe.
The whole rub and nothing but the rub, or maybe it wasn't the rub. Maybe that was the problem.
And it's very interesting. His last name was Monin because he was doing lots of moaning, with those floats.
No.
But
All the pool float had to do was say no. So, did it? No.
did it consent? Did it consent or did it?
It
Did
did
it not?
not consent.
Are we debating the rights of pool floats
Why not?
on a global scale?
Why not? We live
This
in
is-
a weird world, Joe.
This is truly a loss of quality of content.
Love,
on our
Joe.
Sunday stream.
Love is love, Joe.
Oh dear God.
Well,
So
we've got
I
no-
have.
no, we've got-
Can we move on?
Yeah,
so
we've got
that,
another Florida.
Okay, so
We've got another Florida story. This is why there's something going on in Florida because you brought another one to the table today, right?
I did.
Yeah, the one about the guy that went by.
You mean the guy in South Florida so oftentimes people will go for a deal when it comes to investing, and a lot of people will invest in real estate. Some people will go to auctions on the courthouse steps for properties that may be in arrears for taxes or for whatever reason. According to Fox News, a man in South Florida says South Florida villa he bought at a government auction turned out to be a foot-wide piece of land. Oops. Now it's too bad. A man who snagged a $177,000 villa for $9,100 now believes he was scammed by the Florida county that put the property up for auction for unpaid property taxes. The villa turned out to be a 1 foot by 100 foot strip of land that separates two villas in the tarmac area and is worth about $50. Broward County sold the parcel to Kerrville Wholeness at an online auction of tax delinquent properties in March. The land, which holds 2 mailboxes, starts at the curb and goes under a wall separating the garages of the two adjoining villas and then extends out to the back, the paper reported.
So this dude has bought this strip here, this like Brazilian strip of land.
Right. That's it.
Nice. He got Brazilianed. Excellent. Cool.
Yeah. Now, he says, if I'm vindictive enough, I can cut right through the garage wall and the home to get to my airspace. But what use would that be to me? Holness told the paper. It's a deception. He asked Broward to void the deal and return his money. County officials said state law does not allow for refunds. Holness said he submitted his bid based on property appraiser photos showing the villa as being the parcel. The appraiser's website and information on the county tax site show no villa or building value, according to the paper. Officials don't know why the developer never attached the strip to either of the adjoining properties. The developer defaulted on the property taxes after dissolving. So that poor son of a gun got that 1 foot by 100 foot strip of land. Oh,
nice.
It's so bad, dude. I mean, come on.
I'm trying to think of a way he could maximize his like idiocy. If there's anything he can do with this to like get something back on it without looking like such a tool.
I'd put a billboard there and advertise.
So? Yeah, I would do something. Yeah. He needs to find a way to make profit off that little strip of.
Yeah. What's he going to put in it? I entered a government option and all I've got to show for it is this damn Brazilian strip of land.
Yeah, it is awful. Talk about getting had. I mean, that's bad. So yeah, instantly he pays $9,100 for it. It's worth $50. $50. Wow.
Another example of the government.
Yeah, it certainly does have your best interest at heart, doesn't it?
What's the algorithm trying to say when this story's obviously about a bit of an idiot, and then they've got AOC right beneath it? What's that all about?
Oh,
I'm fed up with this fake news making her look in such a bad light. You know, it's terrible, Joe. Just shocking. You know, it truly is. But I tell you what, good news over in Scotland, boys. Good news.
Is that right?
Well, I think it is. I think it's a step in the right direction. Because got sent this today by Anne, and it says Scotland gets the green light for its first cannabis farm.
Ooh, now that sounds wonderful.
And
what is this? Let me ask you this. What does that mean?
Well, the UK, they kind of relaxed the legislation around cannabis-based medicine towards the end of last year. However, it has been near impossible for anyone to actually get these medicines. Now, there's two reasons for that. They kind of they've made it so harsh trying to meet the criteria, Scott, to get this. It's basically end-of-life patients, severe chronic pain, epilepsy, stuff like that. But there's also a supply question as well. So they're hoping, and it's an Australian firm that's going to be moving into Scotland. They've got the license to do this. And hopefully they'll be able to at least alleviate the supply kind of problem when it comes to using this as medicine. Now, I hope it's a step in the right direction. We could look at Colorado. You can look at all of the other states in the US as well. And just even solely from a profit point of view, from a tax point of view, from the government's sake, I see it as an absolute no-brainer. I truly do. And at a time when people are very much questioning and quite opposed to anything that governments do, no matter where you are in the world, I think it would be almost quite an appeaser with the people. There'll be a lot of people probably appreciate the fact that we've finally been given the right to do something that governments shouldn't be able to tell us whether we can or can't in the first place. But I'm hopeful, Scott. I'm very hopeful. I never thought we would see the day where even CBD oil was kind of on the go up here. So fingers crossed, dude. Hopefully light at the end of the tunnel. And even if they don't go recreational, I mean, even if they don't go down that road, as long as they're getting it to people who need it and can benefit from it, then that's a winner, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is definitely a step in the right direction, and you're right. I mean, this is really accelerating, and you know how I've always talked about how draconian things are here in Kansas. We're even starting to see movement here in Kansas, which is pretty amazing. I believe the governor signed a thing where they're going to allow CBD with even certain amount, like a certain percentage of THC within the CBD oil, for like children and stuff suffering from epilepsy. You have to have that little bit of THC to help activate the CBD in it, and so there's movement going on with that, and it's just a matter of time. I think this whole reefer madness thing is crumbling beneath their feet. They can't really push this reefer madness sort of mindset anymore. It's such an archaic way of thinking that there's been so much evidence out there and studies and research done to show that the benefits of cannabis are far outweigh. Well, I mean, there really is no downside to it, really, if you think about it. I mean,
I'm sure you could find some, but you know what, dude?
It's like anything else. Yeah, yeah, and the thing is it's like
what you do.
Yeah, and it's like anything else. Anything can be abused.
Yep.
Anything can be abused.
Right, like ladles.
You can abuse
like pool floats.
Yes, pool floats. Yeah, but anything can be abused. Cheeseburgers. Whatever. It comes down to like personal responsibility.
Yeah, that's right. I could eat McDonald's for every meal 3 times a day.
And you look like you do.
You're an asshole. And and you could, blow up like a balloon, have heart disease, all that kind of stuff. Or, what did they just find? I got to find that article, but they linked fast food to Alzheimer's. So it's like, oh, well, maybe that's because they put like racetrack in it and all that kind of stuff and recycled couches.
Right. Isn't that a bit of a kind of skewed study when you think about it?
Oh, it's always,
because most people have eaten fast food, right? So there's going to be a high percentage of those people that go on to get Alzheimer's, but it doesn't mean it came from the fast bloody food that they ate, And
then that low fat diet, that's tied to Alzheimer's. The ones that say, oh no, cholesterol. Your brain's made of cholesterol, you jerks.
Did you hear that they said that they're developing a vaccine
for
Alzheimer's? You might look that up, Kev.
Is that right?
Research, yeah. A vaccine for Alzheimer's.
I did see something like that. Yeah. And it has to do with the plaque that develops.
Yeah.
And how to get rid of the plaque. They also said some sort of like electrotherapy or frequency using like EMF, that type of thing to almost break it up.
Well,
now I see that.
I don't know, because I was reading that study not so long ago on the show, and it was saying how a study at Yale that says there's a correlation between electromagnetic frequencies, i.e. from your phone, and mothers that are carrying children, Joe. They've actually found that can have an effect on the cognitive development of the brain, and then there's a significant spike in those children having ADHD.
ADHD and autism.
Yeah,
I saw that. Yeah. Now that's an interesting thing if you think about it, because that's not anything that anybody's really looking into. But it's we talk about how when you talk about the autism issues, that you can't look tunnel vision and say, oh, it's vaccines.
No.
And here's another thing that
Well, Joe, I think the
Significant.
man-made frequencies, not just 5G, but you go back to let's go back to like Neanderthal time. No kind of man-made anthropogenic frequencies here. All natural, right? So you've got all that time that the human then develops, and we come a couple of thousand years, blah blah. Here we are, and now we're living in an electromagnetic soup. And that's got to be having some kind of effect on us, because we always talk about how everything is frequency, right the way down to our cells. And then, get this, bearing in mind what we said about children and their brains forming, cognitive development, found this story today as well. Children as young as 2 are using social media amid concerns over growing addiction rates.
How is that?
Because it's just, I think, for some parents, a lot easier to hand children a gadget. And what's scary is, I've seen it happening. It's almost as if kids are coming out of the womb now. This sounds weird, but it's almost like it's some kind of passed down memory, because the thumbs go straight to it. I'm not saying they understand exactly what they're doing, but they've got the know-how. They instinctually know how to grab this and get it going. It's weird. It's really weird.
At that age, the brain is completely opened up, and everything coming into it is immediately downloaded and learning. So, I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but it's very, very a 2-year-old. I would say between the ages of 2 and like 6. From like 2 to 6, they can adapt. You can adapt to things very, very quickly and learn things very fast. That's the age in which they're learning how to talk. So
you know what I see the biggest issue is here is that and I see it with my kids a lot, is they don't have the imagination that I have or had, and they don't seek the outdoor adventure that I did when I was a kid, like
big time,
because of that stimulation that's happening with these handheld devices and the computers. You tend not to want to go out there and do that because of bugs or it's out there.
You think of that, Joe. We're turning them. Kids are becoming dopamine junkies.
Yeah. No, I definitely see it. But the funny thing is. I remember going out and not coming. I mean, my mom would have to drag me in the house. And there were times, to believe it or not, she got me in that habit. She would lock the door in the morning on the weekends. She'd kick me out of the house in the morning, lock the door, and dinner's at this time. Come on back then. And we'd go play in the woods, do all sorts of stuff. I'd just lose ourselves in that kind of environment. And so, when I just find it very difficult to believe that these devices have totally and completely circumvented that. And it's almost like an instant gratification type of thing. Like there's no effort needed. You don't have to build a fort, you can just go on Minecraft. It's crazy, it's just a crazy thing. And I mean, I understand.
Again, think about it, Joe, as well, right? Because when we grew up, we're about the same age, okay? And
right.
The leap in technology between us being kids and our parents being kids,
it
wasn't that much when you think about it. But now, this is a different world they're born into, They're born into this interconnected Internet of Everything world.
That's right. Yeah, those 3 generations. I would say my grandfather, my father, and then me, right? Those 3 generations, you're right, Kev. Technology-wise, you had advancements in technology, but none really game-changing to the point where it revolutionized or changed behavior. It wasn't until really the television, but they all had it. They had radio and television, and that was basically the trends. But the internet, wow. Yeah. The miniaturizing electronics and these devices. Yeah. So
it really, what it boils down to is the smartphone and the smartphone being affordable and available to the general public. Because look, I mean, we had the internet in the 90s, right? I had internet when I was in high school.
Yep.
But that was tied to my house. I didn't take the internet with me. I had a big
Yeah,
old
right.
CRT computer screen. So, and a 56K modem. So even though the internet was there, it really still wasn't that much of a game changer. I still went outside. I still went to my friends' houses. We still did things, and it was when I got home, that's when it was kind of like, oh, okay, internet time. It was more of kind of a novelty situation. But it's now that everything has been miniaturized, like you said, everybody has it with them. Everybody can carry it with them. And it's accessible 24/7, 365. That's the game changer. It was
Right,
the invention of the smartphone.
Yeah, right at your fingertips. So you're absolutely right. And it's, again, it plays right in with the rest of the culture of convenience.
Think of the schools over here, Joe. And I mean, you can bring up your child, be as brilliant, be really, really staunch when it comes to keeping them away from technology, social media. Then the minute they go to school, what happens? Well, over here in Scotland, they're getting tablets thrown at them. They do their learning on these gadgets, and then, of course, you don't want to be left out when everyone else has got a Facebook profile, and you don't have to tell mummy and daddy because this is your private profile, and the school can facilitate this for you. It's
Right.
it's horrid, man, and it's an indoctrination.
What's interesting though? Like Generation Z, I would say the kids that are probably around 15, 16 years old now, they don't get on Facebook. My little brother, he don't even have a Facebook
Good.
profile. Facebook is considered like for old people to them.
Yeah. But I mean, there's other things that they're into.
But yes, they have their own sort of social networks, and I guess like the big thing for the younger generation are like Snapchat,
Yeah.
right? So you post something, and I think it's like after 24 hours, your post just disappears completely, goes away.
We're too old for Snapchat. We're definitely too old for Snapchat, man. We're way too cool for that.
And the Snapchat obviously has its own issues, right? The facial recognition stuff, and that's, I think, really what it's more built for, is for scanning everyone's faces so they can use the Snapchat filters and all of that stuff. And whatever, but the technology is evolving, the new generation is evolving with it, or whatever. And I mean, this is just the reality that we're in. I mean, there's really no way.
And see,
I mean, we can complain about it, and we can and kind of bitch and moan about, well, this new generation is lazy and this and that, and then harken back to the way that we've done things. But the reality of the situation is that that's where technology is, and that's where society is right now. And we can be nostalgic, and we can long for things to go back to the old way, but it's never going to be like that. It's not
if you choose to participate in society. You're absolutely right. It's just not going to work.
No. And like Kev said, I mean, you can be the staunchest sort of anti-technology and try to keep your kids away from it or whatever, but as long as if you're sending them to public school, they're going to be exposed to it. They're going to get it no matter what. And like you said, I mean, the schools here, every kid gets an iPad. Yeah. Every kid gets an iPad, and they get to take it home.
Oh wow.
It's their designated iPad that the school provides for them. And it's used for schoolwork or whatever. And then of course, you have some of the more kind of tech savvy students that kind of find a way to jailbreak their iPad or get around it and utilize it for more than just school activities. But it just shows how ingrained it is in society right now.
Well,
and
how about this then, Scott? Since people are going to have their smartphones anyway, and since they're going to be on Facebook, right? Surely there can be nothing wrong with the idea of Facebook paying to have a look at all of your data usage on your mobile, right? With their new Facebook crypto coin that's going to be coming out sometime soon. Not that they're not already looking at all of your apps and all of your usage. I mean, what could possibly go wrong with Facebook looking at your private data, fellas?
You mean the fact that they do it now anyway?
Well, they're actually
Like,
offering to pay you money to look at all of your other apps, Joe.
I know. And what is, and how much?
Well, they haven't decided yet how much, but
Exactly.
it says Facebook
'Cause
want
it's gonna be
users.
pennies.
But you see, this ties into a bigger story, Joe, before you shit all over the top of it,
I'm
right?
gonna shite all over it.
Because this ties into the fact that Facebook are launching their crypto coin. And
Yes.
it's linked to Visa, you've got PayPal, all the rest of them are recognizing it. We were kind of, I sent you a message today, Joe, about this. This ties in perfectly with your social credit scoring system and almost the gamification of reality, right? Because we'll be living on that kind of social media platform where maybe liking favorable posts, like 10 favorable posts, share them. Maybe that'll unlock some Facebook coin that you can spend at your local favorite shop, or you can go over to Amazon and spend it there. Maybe you can unlock some emojis with it, or maybe you could start reporting hate speech. If you see
Oh,
something,
look at that. Yeah,
you know,
get rewarded.
you'll get rewarded. And maybe, posting the
Be
man
rich
who
from
shall
being
not
a
be
tattletale.
named, the dude from like Texas, if you post links that maybe aren't favorable, they take a little bit of Facebook coin off you. So yeah, I think this whole thing, we're getting paid by Facebook just so they can look at your usage on your mobile phone. This is them starting to get into the way of getting used to getting money off Facebook. I mean, it's already happening, like we know. We already know they're looking at our data. So why are they now offering us money for it? Because they want to make that transaction normal. That's my opinion. They want to make it normal where you feel you can get money from Facebook for all the data that they're using. But it says here, the social media giant this week announced Study, a market research program that will compensate willing users of Android, Google's operating system.
Another great show, lads.
Awesome, Germanus. Awesome. So it says here,
Germanus, yeah.
in exchange for information about their phone app use, eligibility study participants must be 18 or older at the launch of the program and can opt out if they want. Users will be paid a flat monthly rate through their connected PayPal account. A Facebook spokeswoman declined to comment on exactly how much money the mobile users could make and declined to provide information about the program beyond what is posted on Facebook's website. But then you come into this here. Crypto is coming. Get ready to spend Facebook money. So I see all of this being tied in to this bigger picture of the social scoring system.
I kind of like how you laid it out there, almost like a virtual currency for Facebook, for them to reward, for them to penalize, basically to use their stuff. And
now,
I could definitely see that taken off.
And now that we know that they're using our data anyway, I mean, they're going to put all of our data onto blockchain technology. So it's stupid if they weren't going to offer some kind of crypto coin on the back of that, right? Because it's all ready to go. And then again, it gives you that kind of sense, not us, but it's almost as if, well, you know, they're paying us for the data that they're using. So really, it's not that bad, right?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I don't.
The way I see this model is kind of like how the DLive model was, right? So you had DLive offering their cryptocurrency, that you eventually cashed out, and I could see, this Facebook cryptocurrency. They pay you with these. I guess we'll just, for the sake of it, call it Facebook points. Let's just call it that. Facebook points. You earn your Facebook points, and you can build up or whatever. Yeah, Zucker coin or something. You can choose to hold on to it, or you can choose to cash out, or maybe they're going to have these partner companies that will allow you to make purchases and transactions using the Zucker coin or Facebook points or whatever. So they'll have their companies that they partner with, and that's how they're going to do it. And this is all, it's all back to the whole dopamine hit.
Yeah.
And what better way to get a dopamine hit than to get paid money?
Exactly, and Scott, check this out. Max
The
Kaiser,
ultimate dopamine.
people, they'll love him or hate him, but this is true because he says the Facebook coin is the realization of my long-standing prediction of emergence of a casino gulag. Billions of users will click and play games for de minimis amounts of money or amounts of coins that can be used to buy food and gas. This is the beginning of an entrenched state of penury. There you go.
Yeah. There you go. I mean, yeah, that pretty much boils it down to that, the casino gulag. And, we've seen people say that before in the past. And at the time, it was kind of an outrageous thing, like, oh, well, come on, what's the casino gulag?
Exactly.
But now you're kind of starting to see how the infrastructure of this is coming to fruition, and we're seeing kind of the base of this being built and how it can be built around crypto. Any of these companies can create their own cryptocurrency. And offer rewards and goodies based off their crypto. And of course Facebook would jump on something like this. Of course that they would see the benefit of something like that to them. And it all boils down to people willing to give up their privacy in order to get a reward, to get that cookie, to get that crypto coin. And
it's okay, Scott, like you say, you have to get them willing to give it up, and we go back to that story. It's okay. We'll just pay you to get into your phone, to look at all of the data that we share with these big companies anyway. Because it wasn't that long ago that Zuckerberg said it's okay, we're partners with all these other apps on your phone, all the companies behind them. We all work together. So why are they rolling out this kind of revenue stream for people for doing something that we know they've been doing forever? There's something bigger going on here.
And then, it also gives them, when people start bringing up privacy concerns, Facebook can just sit there and go, you know what? Look, these people chose to give up their privacy. They willingly did it. They accepted the terms of service that said, hey, we're going to look at everything you're doing on your mobile device.
Right.
They willingly accepted this in order to get paid. So we're not doing anything wrong at all. I mean, from their standpoint, they really aren't. If you're willing to opt into something like this, then you really have no reason to sit around and complain about your privacy being violated, because that was the whole reason you opted in to begin with. You willingly gave up your privacy.
Yeah. And it's kind of like the whole, there's no reasonable expectation of privacy in a public square. So you're in a public square or the town square. You don't expect any privacy in the middle of the town square. And I think that's the same idea. Here I am. I'm on Facebook. I'm in this virtual town square. There's no reasonable expectation of privacy, and you sign it away anyway.
Which was highlighted the other day by this one here.
That's right.
A deep fake of Mark Zuckerberg says in a video on Instagram this week, Mark Zuckerberg confessed to controlling the stolen data of billions of people and said he owed it all to an organization called Spectre. The video was, of course, faked, and on this week's Tech Tent, we examined the dilemma it posed for Instagram's owner, Facebook. A few weeks ago, the social media giant came under fire for allowing a doctored video of Nancy Pelosi flying around on her broomstick. No, she wasn't on her broomstick, but you know what I mean. So how would it react when the faked video of the founder emerged? Well, they left it up, long story short. But again, this is the deep fakes being used again, guys. It's one deep fake story.
It's a pretty impressive one. And the only thing is like you could tell anybody that's heard Zuckerberg knows that that's not his voice. But if you haven't heard him and all you see are pictures, wouldn't know the difference.
And then you've got this one. A spy used AI to generate faked LinkedIn profile and surveil experts in Washington, D.C. And I imagine you see all of these like good-looking model type people that try to add you on Facebook. Quite obviously bots, right? But you wonder how many of them are actually generated. on the fly by something like
That's
this?
a good question.
Yeah, whether
Yeah.
it's somebody physical putting them out there, or is it just one of these botnets that's doing it randomly with a
You
neural
think that
network?
that stuff is fairly common? That
I would say
type
it's easy.
of yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with the existence of that website, what is it? Thispersonisn'treal.com or something like that, that uses the NVIDIA, NVIDIA AI machine learning to generate pictures of people that don't even exist.
That's right.
Yeah, you could easily just go to that site, and the first picture that pop up, you just download it, use it as a
And that's
profile.
your profile. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And because that person doesn't exist, and that's a random AI generated photograph, of course the Facebook algorithm is going to scan it and be like, oh look, this is a unique person. It's not going to find a duplicate photograph, right? So it's not going to pick it up and flag it as a fake profile or anything. It's going to think it's a unique person that set up a profile. And so yeah, you could definitely, knowing what I know about scripting language and stuff like that, you could easily develop a script to download one of these photographs, go on one of these social media sites and set up a profile very quickly and have it up and running.
And just keep doing it ad nauseum until you set up like this massive bot farm.
Yep. Basically.
Boy.
And all you need is one mug, just one mug to fall for it and fall in love with said absolutely stunning Russian model that's just randomly added you, because that's what happens on a Sunday on Facebook. So they need just one mug to keep that scam going, dude.
Yeah. It's really, I can't believe it. You look at some of these scams that are perpetrated and you wonder how on earth do people fall for this crap? It's mind-boggling.
How did people used to fall for the Nigerian prince thing? Why have people
it's
fallen for snake oil?
unbelievable. Some people forked over $1 million, Kev.
Yep. And I mean, 20 years from now, there'll be people still falling for something else, Joe. It's just the way of the world, isn't it?
It's just unbelievable.
There, Kev, I dropped that link right there in the chat. And just so you can show people how realistic these pictures are. Look, that is AI. That person does not exist. And if you just hit refresh, it'll generate a completely new person.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the brain just told me that in some of these Nigerian cases, it's funny because they've had to arrest people because they refused to stop sending these Nigerians money. They didn't want to believe that it was a scam. They were like, they literally got arrested because they wouldn't stop sending them money. Like the police were like, no,
as opposed to admitting that they got scammed, they just want
exactly right.
Wow, dude, that's like QAnon.
Yes,
it's like QAnon.
That's the exact same.
Boy, what an unbelievable parallel.
I think so, yeah. And that's not having a go at anyone. We've looked at it from a psychological point of view, and it's got all the hallmarks of one of those crazy cult things going on. Not the only one on the internet right now, by the way.
Of course,
no.
Probably hundreds or thousands,
Welcome to the digital compound. You don't need a place out in Texas at Waco anymore, dude. You just all get together on websites and Chan boards,
Well, it all boils down to, cognitive dissonance, right? And so once you're in so deep and say, you are getting scammed, of course, a lot of people won't admit that they've been scammed. They don't want to believe that they've been scammed. And then you just get this whole cognitive dissonance thing going on where even if they're presented information that blatantly contradicts, who's there.
You see the same thing in alternative media right now. And I think that's what's ripping the heart out of it, right? Because people aren't willing and big enough to stand up and say, I was wrong. I got it wrong. I'm going to pull back on this, whatever topic it was. Okay, hands up. I got it wrong. My bad, and move on. People can't do that anymore. Everything is just so divisive.
Here's the other thing, too. You have to understand that journalism is more than just parroting or talking about news pieces from other media sources. So, and to do that, to do true journalism, it takes a lot of money, a lot of effort, a lot of time. And it's not happening at near the clip it used to, because the whole social media landscape has changed the financial structure of the way media functions. And it's just totally and completely it's messed up the order of things. You know what I mean? So when you see a lot of these sites out there that are doing good work, don't get me wrong, they're not doing original work. They're just basically they're regurgitating the news that these organizations are basically putting out there to control talking points anyway. So, unless there was a return to true journalism, none of this is really going to change. And then you're getting a journalistic standpoint based on that journalist's worldview. So, it's crazy. It's just crazy.
That's why we just provide commentary for the apocalypse.
That's why, I do. One of the positives that I glean from social media is that everybody's a citizen reporter. That the traditional mode of, you have this reporter that writes an article, goes to the editor chops it up, gives it back to the reporter. They fix it. Editor says, okay, now it fits what we want it to say. And boop, there it goes. It's out. Instead, somebody can just hit record and it's live streamed. It's out there on the internet. And boom, you make we can all interpret it based on the way we want to interpret it. So to me, not only has journalism changed, but the mode and method of delivery has changed. And as a result, it's almost made that legacy media obsolete. So people that are clamoring for a return to it, or it's very much akin to those that want to return to a life without the technology. If you want to participate in society, I just don't see it possible. I just don't think it's going to happen. Like, you have to evolve with the times. And if you don't want to, then the next question is, where do you go?
You've got to be able to evolve and adapt to the changes that are taking place. Doesn't necessarily mean that you have to put the blinders on and just but you got to be able to recognize the dangers and a lot of the negatives that come with it as well. It's all about adapting to it. I think a good example of it is you, Kev, the way you've been able to adapt to a lot of the changes that have taken place on YouTube and stuff like that, right?
Very much so.
You could have been extremely hard-headed. You could have really kind of dug in and just said, "I'm not changing." And what would that have done? You probably wouldn't even be here right now. We wouldn't even be here doing a stream.
We wouldn't have this platform, Scott. Exactly.
So you looked at it logically and you said, "Okay, this is the way things are changing. What am I going to have to do to continue to operate within this realm and still not really compromise myself, right? Or I guess you could say cave in and sell out, I guess you could say, or whatever term you want to put on. But you do have to adapt, and you have to play by the rules of the system, because that's where we're operating in that system. And like Joe said, you can choose not to operate in the system, but you're going to be an outlier. You're not going to be able to operate within society.
You'll get the odd martyr along the way, but folks, martyrs, they're still dead. They're still gone. Yeah. They're still deplatformed in this kind of scenario. And Scott's right,
Here's the thing with that. If you choose not to do it and operate, then the question is, where do you go?
Yep.
There's nowhere to go. A lot of these people, we'll build a commune. Okay, well, that's expensive. So now you're going to go ahead and, get all these resources together, and then you get out there, and then you're stuck. Now, what if it doesn't work out or pan out? Then what? it's not as easy. The grass is always greener on the other side of the fence.
You know,
Or
I
the
looked at
people-
it like I got into military mode, so I did. Remember back when the algorithm originally got me?
Yeah.
And you can go back to when we first started doing that very first show together, Joe. It was the time of the 2012 London Olympics. I've been kicking about on YouTube a long time. So you learn along the way. And you're right, go into military mindset. That's what I done, because we're behind enemy lines here. If everything we're saying is true, then we're operating behind enemy lines. And the army taught me one thing, you know, everything changes. Circumstances change at the drop of a hat, but you've got to be ready. Improvise, adapt, and overcome. And people will shake their head and they'll say, but you're self-censoring, you do this, you do that. Well, the alternative is I become a name on the wall. Only not as big a name as Alex Jones or Paul Joseph Watson or any of the other ones that have disappeared by the wayside so far. So what's better? Do I skirt around and still cover the topics, only more logically now, from all sides of the debate? Or like Joe said, do I just go gung-ho, knowingly cover stuff that's going to get me kicked off so I can be a martyr for 5 minutes? Who's that going to serve? Nobody. Nobody cares if Kev Baker gets kicked off.
Yeah, and with the attention span, you know, people have the attention span of a goldfish now. And not, you know, even if you do become a martyr or whatever, how long is that going to be that's even in the public mindset, you know, or in the public consciousness? You know, it might make news. People might talk about it for maybe, you know, a couple days or something, you know, and then next thing you know,
until the next apocalypse, Scott, and then the next wave gets spoken about, you know.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
Let's take a look at one of history's biggest martyrs of the 20th century right now, because this is a great example of what you're talking about, Scott. More so on a long-term scale, but just how history views things.
Thanks, Scotty. Kevin Joe, thumbs up.
Oh, thank you very much,
thank
Beer.
you. Thanks so much. That's
honestly,
unbelievable.
Awesome. Remember, folks, if you want to support us, you can get one of those super chats. Click the $sign. Get a membership. You can get them over at the channel page, or there's PayPal links in the description. Joe, back to you, man.
So, Martin Luther King, right? Probably one of the biggest martyrs of the 20th century. And an icon and a hero to so many. But as you see with times and how they evolve, people's view of those martyrs can change, and soon they don't become martyrs, Scotty. You know, like, so now it's coming out. The FBI, quote, declassified all these files on King, and wouldn't you know it, he was a womanizer and cheated on his wife repeatedly, and he oversaw or was present during the rape of an underage girl and things like that. And with this Me Too movement, now all of a sudden there's push to take Martin Luther King off his pedestal. And that's interesting considering what he did. And all of us, every single one of us, have skeletons in our closet. And at any point in time, any of them can be thrown in your face. And if it's presented in a light, whatever, anybody can make anything out of it on social media and media in general, especially with the technology we have today, Scotty, you know? So I agree with Kev. You're much more powerful here than any sort of martyrdom or even any sort of like radical type behavior. It's tactics like Kev says, behind enemy lines. You want to live to fight another day, and you have to be tactical in your strategy. You know, you can't be like, well, they're censoring, so I'm going to do it anyway. Here, I'm banned all over YouTube. It does you no good.
You're right. You know, and wasn't this kind of the plan, you know, with those of us, you know, trying to wake people up, you know, for as long as we've been doing it? Wasn't this kind of the plan to begin with? Wasn't this what we had said we were going to do? Look, we're going to use these platforms And you know, of course, we knew that Facebook from the get-go was an intelligence gathering operation,
Of course.
you know,
Right.
a data mining operation. You know, but we said, look, we're going to use their systems against them. We're going to use their platforms to try and wake people up. And so to throw all that away by being a martyr is completely counterproductive to that. You know, we want to try to stay on these platforms as long as possible to try and wake people up.
Right.
You know, we have to be able to adapt and stay on these platforms. It doesn't mean we're not accomplishing our mission. We're just doing it in another way, you know?
It's 4:20 somewhere. Be nice and puff puff pass.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better, Shannon.
Hey, that's right, man.
Absolutely. This
Yeah.
is good fun tonight, boys.
I was telling Joe, Kev, that, you know, remember like when all of us kind of got started doing this stuff, you know, the whatever you want to call it, alternative media, truther movement, you know, just those of us trying to wake people up to the crap going on, you know, wasn't that kind of the mission to begin with? You know, we said we were going to use these platforms as a weapon.
Yep.
Wake people up. So what good is it to throw all that away and be a martyr and then not be able to utilize these platforms? You know, we have to be able to adapt. We have to be able to stay on. We have to be able to kind of look into the future and see what kind of shenanigans they're going to pull and be able to adapt to it in order to stay on the platform and continue to do what we do.
And stick to if you stick to the facts, and when you're sticking to the facts, you tell people that. And when you're going to that land called speculation that I spend far too much time in, tell people you're doing that as well, but always try to be logical. Because I know we're up against algorithms here, but I really think it's more of that batshit crazy crap that they're trying to get off the platform. And I was saying to Joe the other day, you know, maybe there's another way of doing this, because I would consider this content, even this here, to be borderline. So there's a risk that YouTube will say not suitable for most advertisers. Okay, that's most advertisers, but there must be some advertisers out there willing to pay less money to have less eyeballs on videos like this. And there must be a different way that they can do it. But the only problem is that's not what this is all about.
There you go.
It truly is just about censoring, not just, you know, what we have to say. It's getting to the point where it'll be them tube, as in mainstream media tube, as in the authoritative searches that they talk about always brings back these channels.
But do you honestly, guys, do you see the clamor for regulation? Do you see that actually manifesting in a government oversight? And if that's the case, then you truly do get, like we've been saying, that government private sector partnership that
you got to go back to the start, Joe. Remember, and I always credit Scott with bringing up LifeLog. And I know Scott wasn't the reporter that went and got that story, but he brought it to our attention. And that was the Pentagon program finishing one day, a program to try and get people to willingly share all of their information. And on the same day Facebook starts, you look at the DARPA money that ended up going into it. So there's always been this relationship with government organizations. And then you watch Zuckerberg, he's asking to be regulated. Well,
that's what I mean.
If he's asking to be regulated, then you know there's something up here. There's a relationship, and they've got the lobbyists there. They've got the regulations written out to hand to the politicians that'll hand it back to them. And all that's going to happen is any competitor that comes along, no hope, because the regulation's in place. It won't be for people that don't have billions in the bank.
Exactly.
Yes, and so say Kev.
And so says the Kevster.
Yes, indeedy. You see, all these years on YouTube, it's taught me nothing, right? Guess who's on my show tomorrow, boys? Guess who's on?
Who's on your show? Who's on your show tomorrow, Kev?
Well, I think it's the perfect kind of addendum to the weekend's reptilian shenanigans we had. L.A. Marzulli.
For real?
Well, we hope so, for real. We hope so. This is about the fifth time of trying, folks, but everything happens for a reason. And I think, looking back now with hindsight, Joe, this is the perfect time to do it, right? Because we were talking about these signs and wonders from the past that point towards reptilian influence. And tomorrow, I'm going to be asking Ellie about the Serpent Mound, for one thing, that earthwork in the US. So there's the connection to the reptiles we didn't have when he was going to come on the show before, you see? See how the universe works, dude?
I do. And it's funny because everything happens in its appropriate time.
Somebody said Rachel Maddow's coming on my show tomorrow. Or as I call her,
you kind of look like her.
Rachel Madcow. No, she kind of looks like me.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
She's got the same, like, very male eyebrows and.
It's Rachel Manow.
I think she could, if she got married to Mad Cow Mueller, that'd be kind of cool. She kind of would be Rachel Mad Cow then.
Mad Cow, yeah. That'd be all.
Hey, better than sheep, right?
I guess
blue chicken man cow.
Oh my!
Man cow.
It works. I like it, dude. I like it.
Or Maddow, yeah, like blue chicken Maddow.
Oh.
That's your girl.
And mad.
So nothing else funny happening in the world, boys, away from all of this shenanigans.
Oh, hey, what about the Star Trek symbol found on Mars?
Oh, yes, I'll dig that. Joe didn't like this the last time I brought it up. Look at me thinking.
Sorry. We're
I don't buy it.
We're going to entertain this.
We are going to entertain this. Here we go. 2 secs. I'll bring it up. Scott, don't you worry about that.
So somebody put the Star Trek symbol in Nova Scotia.
Oh, you cynic, Joe. If it comes up. Here we go.
I'm just saying.
There we go. Well, that was too big. That's pretty impressive, man.
Yeah. Yeah, not bad for Nova Scotia. It looks pretty good. Or like I said, it's maybe a primitive boomerang. The Aussies went to Mars first.
I can't even think what would make that, though. Like, some kind of meteor coming down. It's going to be a weird-shaped meteor, right?
Definitely a interesting feature, you know.
Could be like a
And of course-
delta-shaped craft just touched down and left its indent there.
Oh, that'd be
I'd
very
have to
interesting.
see it zoomed out and like what the topography looks like in its totality.
Yeah,
and
what
that
kind of size are we talking? We've got no scale
exactly,
there.
you got nothing. It could be like 6 inches across.
I like it, though.
Okay.
Good story,
It's
man.
good stuff.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You know what that is? That's a reach. And
I
that's
don't
a
know,
big one.
dude. I don't know, dude. It doesn't take much of pareidolia for you to kind of see that that's got similarities to the Star Trek kind of symbol, right?
There's certainly.
I mean, look, it's even got the crazy bit there. Look, it's even got the weird right leg to it.
Yeah, I know. I guess.
It is, dude. It's like, this is like a Martian crop circle, man. It's like the secret Space Force. The blue chickens are saying, we're out here.
That's it. The pesky humans went and got us back.
Could that be the footprint of a blue chicken? Look at it.
Oh,
Maybe they've
that
got,
now.
like-
See, I could go with that.
Yeah, there's
That's
the heel, and then they've got like two kind of forked toes.
Bakok. Bakok.
I think you've cracked the
Giant
mystery,
blue
Kev.
chicken.
Do you think I've cracked it, Scotty?
You're saying blue chickens are Martian?
Dude, the Sphere Being Alliance are everywhere. They've got a protective force field around the solar system, man. What? What's wrong?
Okay.
I can't believe you're knocking it. I can't believe it. Come on, boys.
Sorry, I'll trust the plan. You got it.
Trust the plan, Joe. Just trust the plan.
I'm surprised, they haven't found a Q-shaped structure on Mars.
Oh, don't, dude. They find them everywhere else. You know Sonic the Hedgehog? See Sonic sitting inside like the ring? That was one. That I think I seen. I'm sure I seen Roosevelt posting that. I'll go and have a look, but I'm sure Roosevelt had posted that was like a Q-proof Sonic sitting inside the ring.
Oh no!
Hey,
they were.
That's awful. Can we talk about some real news?
Okay.
I'd like to talk about O.J. Simpson.
Oh, OJ's a dude, man. Now,
Okay,
there's a
so-
character that you could do a couple of shows on.
So since we were talking about social media and its importance, apparently OJ also has realized it's important, as today he launched his own Twitter account. And he did so with a video post in which the former football star, according to the Associated Press, said he's got a, quote, little getting even to do. Simpson confirmed the new account Saturday, saying in a phone interview while at a golf course in Las Vegas that it'll be a lot of fun. He says, I've got a lot of things to straighten out. He didn't elaborate before he had to go and ended the call, but Simpson's generally kept a low profile since his release from prison in October 2017 for robbery and kidnapping over an attempt to steal back some of his sports memorabilia from a Las Vegas hotel room. In the Twitter video, Simpson and his followers would get to read all his thoughts and opinion on just about everything, he said. And now there's a lot of fake OJ accounts out there, he said, adding that this one would be official. The 71-year-old recently told the AP he was happy and healthy, living in Las Vegas 25 years after the killing of his ex-wife and her friend. Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman were stabbed to death on the night of June 12th, 1994. Simpson was ultimately acquitted of the crime after a televised trial that riveted the nation and raised thorny issues of racism, police misconduct, celebrity, and domestic violence. Now, he was ordered to pay $33.5 million in a civil suit with the Goldman family, and didn't happen. Hasn't paid it back.
Thank you very much, Milady Pamela. Milady. I like that. Milady.
And so their problem is like, well, why is this guy living this way if he hasn't paid it back? Yada, yada, yada. So his whole thing is, well, I'm going to set the record straight now that I'm not as bad as everybody says I am. And so you'll get to learn who the real OJ is through his Twitter feed.
So wait a minute. So all these people that have been kicked off Twitter, but OJ's cool.
He's good.
He's good to go.
He's good. He's going to show us all what the real.
My word of advice to OJ is
Rizzle.
To just keep his mouth shut. You know, he's going to end up getting himself into trouble. I can already see
The brain's on
this.
the edge of her seat. She can't wait.
Well,
Yeah.
Just in case people thought I was lying earlier, I'll show you this just now. There you go. Q-proof.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What a
What a world we live in.
horrible rendering of Sonic the Hedgehog. Is that from the movie?
Awful.
Yeah, man.
Is that?
They're changing
wow.
Sonic. They're changing it. You know what I mean?
Well, is that where did that come from? That's the worst Sonic I've ever seen in my life.
That's from the new movie, and there's been so much backlash. Yeah,
It's awful.
Yeah, there's been so much backlash that I guess they're going to go back and they're going to completely redesign Sonic because.
My God, I hope so.
Yeah. Although,
That's the most retarded Sonic I've ever seen.
maybe Sonic doesn't identify as a hedgehog. Stop assuming things, Joe.
Well, I've never seen a hedgehog with arms and legs like that either, and human hands.
So they think that this is Q-proof.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh. Oh
I know.
my God.
I know. It's okay. It's okay. Just trust the plan. But
Yeah, I'm
boys,
trusting.
Well, you know, Sonic is quick, and quick starts with a Q. So, you know, if you start
What does
digging
that
in,
you see, now you're starting to think like one of them. Now you're going to be grabbing like the first and second and third letters out of every paragraph and putting them together in some, anagram spaghetti and coming up with a false flag somewhere or something. Like they do. It's what they do. Well, guys, look, I think we're almost out of time. Joe's trying to find something shocking before we go. Look, you can tell he's on a hunt for something.
I'm trying to find something shocking before we go.
Something disturbing. See who can find the most shocking story. I know exactly the website of trash to go to.
Before we go, do you mind if I drop something? Because people have been messaging me and asking me,
Please
like,
drop it.
how they can help or whatever, and and I guess the best way, if you want to help me out, is if you want to throw me a little coin towards my PayPal, that would probably be the best way to help out. Other than sending love and prayers and all that good stuff and sending good vibes. If you can, you don't have to. I know everybody, a lot of people struggling out there, but if you wanna do that, I would greatly appreciate it. So I'll drop that into the Skype chat, and Kev can drop that into the YouTube chat there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good shout there, Scotty. There it is. That's that dropped in. Just before I forget, somebody had dropped in about what's happening with Alex Jones right now. And
Oh
obviously,
yeah, that's happened
Alex,
so many.
yeah.
That's like a classic.
That's happened to Luke Radowski in the past. It's
Yeah.
happened to a lot of people. And it would appear that it's the oldest trick in the book, They asked to see so many of his emails, and then, whoa, voila. They find that so many of those emails just happen to have embedded bad stuff in it. And already it looks like the feds can see that it wasn't ever opened at the Infowars end. And hopefully they'll be able to get to the bottom of it. But I heard his lawyer, was cracking up at him on the show the other day, Joe, like I was telling you. He's like, listen, you dragged me all the way down here. Don't make me look stupid. And you need to know when to shut up. And you need to shut up right now. Because he was offering people like $1 million because they're going to release the metadata. And then from there, they're hoping to trace it back somewhere. But even the lawyer was saying, don't be naming people right now, Alex, because these are people we might need to go after in the future. Let's just get one thing at a time. But I don't know what's happened today. I was listening to the start of the show, and they were saying that they couldn't really talk about it. Owen Schroyer. They couldn't really talk about it on air. But they're looking at Plan B, Plan C, Plan D, i.e. a get-out plan. I don't know how long Infowars is going to be on the go for much longer.
Oh, yeah, I don't either.
No.
But it is what it
They're
is.
after the money,
you know?
man. They're
But
going after the money,
its time. Well, everything has its time. And that's, unfortunately, the theater's changing. That's the problem. And so the battle and the tactics have to change, and you can't fight things the same way.
Yep.
And it just, we're at that point. We got to time to evolve the battle plan.
Alex was a pioneer for his time.
Absolutely.
He kicked off a lot of the stuff, and at the time, he had adapted to what was going on at the time. But he's continued to operate in the same way while things have continued to evolve. Like you said. And so now, the like you said, the battlefield has changed. People have to adapt differently. And did anybody really expect Alex to just continue to operate like this forever? I mean, at some point he was going to have to tone it back or give the reins of Infowars to somebody else or whatever. And now with all of this kind of hot water he's found himself in legally and all of that stuff, it's very hard for him to be at the helm of something like that while having to deal with all of this extracurricular activity on the side.
Yep.
And so, what happens with Infowars after this? I mean, who knows? It's probably, it's already kind of morphed into something that, 5 years ago, you would never have thought that would be Infowars. You know what I mean?
I kind of envision it's getting sold, and then after that, who knows where it goes. But he certainly built a juggernaut of a website and
sure
an
woke
infrastructure.
me up.
That's for
the crazy Texan sure woke me up. I remember it well. 3 o'clock in the morning, shouting and screaming on a radio show, and I'm thinking, this dude gets it, man. He knows what's going on.
Absolutely. Speaking of getting it and what knows what's going on.
Oh, Oh, indeed it would get it, Joe.
New York Post says that a nut has been charged in a chaotic break-in at
Wasn't me.
at Ocasio-Cortez Baker's campaign offices.
I've been told by my lawyer to tell you I have not been smelling her pool floats. I did not break in there. Yep, nothing like that. Nothing at all, Joe.
Wow. It says here a D.C. man's facing a series of charges after barricading himself in a utility closet in a Queens building that's home to Rep. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's campaign, according to cops. Dawala Hashi, 31, allegedly argued with security on the ground floor of Jackson Heights building just before 5 p.m. Saturday and ran up to the third floor where he refused to leave, according to police. The vagrant, who is known to employees, was wandering around the floor when AOC's office called security. And when one of the guards went to check it out, Hashi allegedly grabbed the guard by the collar and barked, "Don't mess with me." And that's when the guard backed off.
That never happened like that, Joe. You know it, and I know it.
And that's when he spotted a knife. And everything.
Why wasn't Cortez's office being inclusive? And
get this. When cops arrived at the office, Hashi took action, sprung into action, and sprayed the officers with a fire extinguisher, creating a cloud condition, and ran into the utility closet holding a broken bottle.
So he literally like magic genied or magicianed it, like did the big puff of smoke.
He went poof and into the utility closet.
How cool is that though? That looks like I've got like the Wookiee's got AOC's head on it. She's like the hairy AOC.
That's very nice.
You like that?
Good.
Yeah. I can't blame this. I mean, hey, come on. She has that effect on red-blooded males. She does. Look at that face. Come on.
Kev?
No.
Oh, man. Okay. All you, buddy.
And that cheeky wee voice she's got.
You go.
No. I've got nothing to say in my defense. Like I say, my lawyer's quite confident I'll get away with this one.
I'm sure if we went in your Twitter feed, we'd probably see quite a bit of traffic on that channel of yours.
No. I must admit, I'm not a social media stalker of celebrities or good-looking women. Not often.
I will say though, I think she did come out in like supporting the decriminalization of like magic mushrooms and stuff.
Absolutely, as well everybody should.
So
she's not all bad, then, Scott. See, she's not all bad. Yeah.
I mean, a broken clock is right. Sometimes, so.
Look at that, even getting support from Scotty Trump.
Yeah, I like that. Hey, listen, between her, Sarah Palin, we could make the world a whole happier place.
And we've got a lot of work to do.
Making the planet great again. What can I say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With that, man.
I think we just need to get Kev, Cortez, and Palin together with some pool floats, and I think it's a
partay.
It could be a party. Would it be a party made in heaven? Absolutely, dude. Yeah. I could. If she get that, like she got into the big house, then that would make me like. Would that make me the first man of the Oval Office?
And yeah, probably so.
Exactly, dude. Imagine the power you'd have then.
Beings that you are a Russian asset, Kev.
Oh,
I don't know.
Don't say a word, dude. Don't say a word.
Not going to be possible. Sorry, Kev. You're disqualified.
After reading that story today about the AI agent, maybe my handler's AI and I've been lying to myself all along, Scott. Who only knows? But we're out of time. Again, 90 minutes have come and gone. I like the 90-minute format. Definitely the way to go. L.A. Marzulli, hopefully, on the Kev Baker Show tomorrow. Got a couple of guests lining up for later on in the week or the week after. So please join us over at tfrlive.com from 2 p.m. on the West Coast. And that's 5 p.m. on the East Coast, 10 p.m. in the UK. And we'll get into the weird and wonderful world of elongated skulls, the Nephilim, giants, all that good stuff with LA tomorrow. And hopefully I'll be stealing Joe for hour number 2. Look at me sitting there saying nothing. Look, saying nothing. So you want some good music on the way out again, Joe? I know you do.
Man, I've been waiting all night for it.
Well, yeah, I'm just going to play the same crap one we had.
Thank you.
All right, yes.
And I'll see everybody here in a couple of weeks, maybe a month, something like that. Depends on how well my surgical wound is healing and how I feel. But love all you guys out there.
Joe,
thanks for the
Joe
support, everybody.
He's merely going to be a shadow of the man he used to be.
Oh man, yeah. It's okay, buddy. It's okay. We'll be praying for you, and of course, everybody out there, make sure you're sending Scotty love, especially this Thursday.
Yep, absolutely, folks. A lot of positive energy, prayers, whatever it is you do personally, send them the big man's way. So we are out of here. We'll be back on the stream next weekend, but be at KBS tomorrow for L.A. Marzulli. Where's the music, Joe? Look at Joe's face now. Look how he loves it. Come on, Joe. Dance for us. See, look. Now, see, that's the camera face I need when I'm trying to sell you for $5. For $5, Joe will love you long time.
Long time.
Yes.
He'll throw in a free pool float.
We've got a super chat coming before we go, boys. Is it?
Having probs with my PayPal, Scotty. We'll look into it, mate. Love to support ya.
Absolutely fantastic. And on that note, we are out of here.